Wow. I'm just so grateful for all the people in my life who have made everything possible. I'm talking about support systems right now. And when I think about it, I don't know about you, but I have never accomplished anything of any significance without help. I've gotten a few things accomplished. I've written books, I've written plays, I went to acting school, I can read, I can write, I can do all of this great stuff. But if I had been born under a rock or something, I wouldn't have been able to do any of it. Why? Because everyone else made it possible. So you probably heard the expression, um, isolation is the enemy of success, right? You've probably heard that expression many, many times. And there's another one tickling my brain. Oh, yeah, company is stronger than will. I can't help but think of President Biden, who I think made a very powerful choice. He made the right choice. Powerful choice? I don't know. He made the only choice that a sane person could make because he recognized that no one was supporting him in continuing his bid for reelection. And he also realized it wasn't about him. He also recognized that the only reason he was there was because of the people who saw his potential and where his talent was needed and allowed him, supported him in attaining what he had. So it cuts both ways. I think you got to look at anything in your life that you're trying to accomplish and ascertain, is this lying here like roadkill because maybe it's not an interesting idea or it doesn't have value? Or is it because nobody knows what it is I'm trying to do and I'm trying to do it all by myself? More often than not, I would venture to say our dreams are stillborn within us because we don't dare to share them. And we don't dare to, as they say in Landmark, enroll others in the purpose that we see in making anything happen. And now there is something to be said for not letting people stomp around in your secret garden. If you have a long standing dream to be an artist, to write a book, you got to keep that under your hat under certain circumstances. There are people who you probably don't want to share that with. I call those people wet blankets. And very often they mean well. However, you've got to be able to distinguish between nurturing and incubating a vision and staying in isolation with it. At a certain point, and I think you'll know, or you can again bounce this off a trusted friend, which is part of your support system, when it's time to enlist help and participation by others. Uh, and I think that that's the first place to start. Do you have what a coach of mine would call your Fab Five, or Fab Four for that matter? Or Fab Three, Fab Three, start with a Fab Three. Three people who you know you can call at any time of the night or day, who you know you're going to be listened to by and understood by, that you can voice a concern or vent or ask for help from. We all need that. I can think of myself, I'm so blessed at this point. Now, I've been around a few decades, and I would say I have cultivated well nigh on 10 people who fall under that category, who I know if I called them, okay, 3 in the morning, you might be a little annoyed, but they'd want to know what was up and they'd stay on the phone. All right. Uh, Without having that kind of wind at your back, it's impossible. It's impossible to sail the boat. All right. So, how do you build a support system? I mean, it depends on the support system, of course. Generically speaking, if you're a bit of a loner, you need to get out of the house. Just go on Eventbrite, go on a meetup site, and find some place with a topic that interests you and show up. It's just that simple. If you live in an area where, like in an urban area like I do, and you have a sense of community in the neighborhood, you don't have to be good friends with anyone, but you just, people recognize you and you recognize them, or you recognize their dog. Most of the time I remember the dog's name, not the owner's. Just go out and walk, go out for a walk, start schmoozing. You would be amazed, if you don't have any attachment to it, the kind of conversations you can end up having and the kind of resources you can end up finding literally in your own backyard. So for me, building a support system, I feel very blessed because it's been a rather natural thing for whatever reason. And it's odd because I wouldn't say that I'm an extreme extrovert because I value my solitude too much. I would say I'm more of an extroverted introvert. I know that solitude is important, but I eschew isolation. Isolation is where dreams go to die. It's where you go to die. When I think about the times in my life when I was truly isolated, I was extremely depressed and I was burdened by an enormous amount of shame. So I feel very blessed that I have always had an impulse and a drive to connect and share my gifts. Sometimes that was appreciated, not always. Sometimes it's you're casting pearls before swine. And you know what? That's life. Maybe they're not swine. Maybe it was just the wrong audience. I don't know. Um, However, you do have to chum, if you know that. And there's another nice metaphor, chumming the water. You know, when we want to attract fish, we just throw food out into the water that without any hooks attached, just letting the fish know there's food there. That's what networking is to some extent, letting people know you exist. That's what marketing is, letting people know you exist as opposed to sales. Getting into into a conversation where you have a solution to someone's problem and you help them see that. That's sales. But it's pretty hard to build a clientele, to build a following, if you don't have a support system, if you don't have other people singing your praises. And a good way to get that to happen is to be a support system for somebody else. Are you attending a colleague's talk? Are you attending other colleagues' events? Or is it always you putting out invitations? I mean, I'm not I have to be very honest. I have to consciously make a point of supporting other people. We all get all wrapped up in the details of our lives, the details of our families, and it's very easy to get so self-absorbed that you're not extending yourself collegially, and not much can happen if you don't. I am very I feel very blessed to be a graduate of the NYU Tisch School of the Arts, what is now the graduate acting program. When I went many, many years ago, it was a conservatory program open to both graduates and undergrads. Since then, they've learned that, well, I was too young to be there. However, I still enjoy the perk of being an alumna and taking advantage of certain offerings like the Summer Festival of New Work, Studio Tisch. And there is an incredible joy not only in having people support your work, but in supporting others, in supporting other people's work. I have never regretted going out of my way to support somebody else. I can't say I've ever regretted it. The only time I may have regretted it is if I expected a quid pro quo. If I expected payback, something in return. That's not how to build a support system. As this same business mentor of mine used to say, networking karma is indirect. You're giving it forward. You don't know from whence it shall return. You are becoming part of an intricate, unseen network of behavior when you go out and you witness and you support other people's work. And you want to be part of that network because it will energize you. And it will cause other people to champion you in what it is you're trying to achieve. So in essence, I guess what I'm saying is, in order to build a support system, you've got to stay engaged regularly with other people, and maybe not even strictly speaking, people with the same professional interests. I think it's really valuable to broaden your horizons in that regard. I belong to a networking group of professionals who, most of them are earning a lot more money than I am. And many of them are not the sorts of folks that I would find myself hanging out with on a regular basis, but I learn so much from them. And for instance, fast marketing experts, people who really understand incentives and incentivizing sales. I'm learning so much from them. Engage in joint ventures. Joint ventures are a great way to develop support systems. And they can be pretty simple. Just swap lives. You know, appear as a guest on someone's live and invite them to appear with you on yours. I just wanted to check the box off today because I knew this is something I wanted to talk about, and I gave myself a deadline. So here I am. But it might have been even better if I had shared the time with someone else and we could talk about building support systems. But it's never too late. So I would invite you, whenever you're watching this, to put in the comments your best practices for gaining support, for building support systems around your business, around your initiatives. I'm very curious to know what people are doing. Thanks for watching, and I will see you around campus, no doubt.